My name's Andy Parkin, Managing Director of the multi-award winning Screed. I'm here today to talk about floor screed thickness over insulation. So we're often asked, just literally, what does the thickness of screed need to be when you're putting it on top of insulation? So insulation, when we talk about insulation, that can be really either acoustic insulation. So if you're looking to soundproof an area, so that might be a multi-occupancy building and you've got a requirement to do that, or it might just be that you're wanting to make sure that you retain as much of the noise in the room as possible. The other one is thermal insulation, so you're trying to keep as much of the heat in this time as opposed to generally keeping the noise in. So that's what we've got when we talk about floating. Generally, if it's insulation with foil back, you would still recommend that a membrane goes over the top of it. When we talk about how thin a screed can go, you've got to look at the different construction types, and floating is probably the one that ends up with the thickest of screeds, because you can imagine that there's a certain amount of give within the insulation. The insulation will have a particular strength rating, so you'll be able to find that, and it comes as a kPa value. So the minimum requirement for domestic is 70 kPa, and it's 100 for commercial. So the higher the kPa, the stronger the screed is. The stronger the insulation is for that. So depending what your point loadings are within the building, if it's got to perform in a certain way, then you may need a higher kPa. Say if you've got a car showroom and you was putting some large 4x4s on there, point loading in certain areas is going to be quite significant. So you may want to increase the actual kPa value of the insulation. So they're just some background things when considering floating screed. So if we was to look at the actual products, you're looking at I think first of all a flowing screed. So a calcium sulfate flowing screed. So some people call it liquid screed, flow screed, and that would go down domestically to a minimum of 35 mil. On the top end, you wouldn't lay it more than 80 mil because you end up with more bleed water and you end up with a weak and friable surface that you'll probably have to grind further down. Commercially, you can go down to 40 mil, and again the same at the top, 80 mil at the top there in floating construction. So sand and cement, if it's a modified sand and cement, so we've got some admixtures thrown in there, you can look at a rapid strength product. So that means it's going to get its strength very, very quickly, so you're able to traffic it and to also load it very quickly. So that might be something that's very important depending on your program. You might not be able to wait for the strength gain of a traditional screed, say. So that's 35 mil, and there's no real upper limits on there, providing that the screed is well compact. And you may look at the other options of putting a void fill to replace some of the screed if it starts to get too thick. So you've got a sand and cement, but again modified. This time it's a fast drying sand and cement. So you're looking at a fast drying screed at 40 mil. So again, no upper limits, but you may just consider compaction and the use of void form. And then we've also got a traditional screed. So this is your 1 to 3 or your 1 to 4 sand and cement screeds. And domestically, you're looking at 65 mil as minimum, and commercially at 75 mil minimum. There is no upper limits for this product. So that gives you a broad idea of what products can go in floating construction and to what the minimum and even the maximum depths are. If you need any further information, just please let me know, and we would only be too happy to help. Thank you.